So you're a woman founder. I don't need to point that out, but you're a woman founder. And women founders have not had, or still do not have the easiest of time fundraising. What have you learned that you could share with other women?
Yeah. I think the most important thing is, one, fundraising, to paint the vision of what this could be. And it's funny, investors used to get really excited about having $1 billion company. Now everyone wants to be in $1 trillion company. And today, NVIDIA hit a $5 trillion market cap. So we know it's possible. Many companies have done it. And these are the big ideas, right? And you're never going to get yeses from most people. And really focusing on those investors who can see the sequence of things that you've got to be right about to get that kind of outcome, and who believe in your ambition to stick it out, right? Like, I think in these early stages, and I still think we're only starting, Saba, this is still the start of our journey, that the ability to have the perseverance and really stick through it with a very capable team, keeping that team together, are the things people are, really looking for, even if they're not telling you that's what they're looking for. And, not focusing too much on only the metrics. Yes, have great metrics, but you need that bigger story much more.
You described that you are driven by learning and growth, not by clout or power. Where do you find or keep that humility in an industry that is obsessed with scale and with valuation?
Yeah, so much of the way me and Wasim are, I think, is shaped by the technology that we build, right? And it's very humbling to get these transformers with these capabilities that are so astounding that you didn't really anticipate for. And I think we're constantly amazed by the exponential laws, right, that are really surprising us. We have to learn at the same pace. The idea of model collapse, or overfitting the data, or becoming closed and just decelerating as a human scares me very much. And I love that we're forced to reinvent the business every 6 to 8 months, really, as the technology changes fundamentally. And so, we're at a cadence and a pace that is very scary and very tiring for many people. But for the people who have chosen Ryder and chosen to be leaders at Ryder, for me and Wasim, it's exhilarating, and I don't think we could be doing anything else.
So as a mother and a founder, tell me, how do you think about legacy? Not just what you build, but also what you model, how you model.
I think it's always been very important to me. I know this sounds maybe lame, but to live up to one's potential. You have so many God-given gifts. You've got so many advantages from people who have sacrificed for you, whether it's your parents or your family. Yes, you want to make them proud, and maybe that's still a big part of what motivates me is, making people who invested in me really, really proud.
So, top leadership qualities are creative thinking, I would say courage, vision, of course. How do you make people walk into the fire with you as a leader?
Yeah, I think the clarity of vision is really important. The future belongs to those who can see it. And the bigger the company gets, I find myself having to work harder at articulating the vision and how it's showing up in strategy, or else it is too easy to see it as tactics or tactical and not laddering up to a bigger idea or a bigger plan. And that's actually been a hard transition for me to make as a leader, as going from a small group of people where you and your co-founder are finishing each other's sentences and not too many words need to be exchanged to be able to paint a mutual model, right, of where the world goes, to a much bigger company where proportionately the average tenure of the average person only gets lower and lower and lower, right, as new people come into the company. And so we're having to do much more communication. And there's this old adage that it's only started to stick in people's minds when you are so bored of saying it, you know.
Yes.
And that especially as someone who's constantly learning, you know, I'm not good at being bored, and that's the hardest part of leadership right now for me.
You're still going at it. You were building this before it all became a hype or a trend. How did you shift from building in obscurity to right in the middle of the hype of ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and all these?
Yeah, I think it was a privilege to get to spend a couple of years building before it was crazy. And I remember, you know, very actively going into sales conversations with more traditional industries, and, you know, really trying hard not to say the words AI as we described what we could do. And then that really shifted. People wanted AI, right, after the ChatGPT moment. And so that was a very exciting thing for us. Now, of course, along with that exposure came a ton of competition. And I think what I'm constantly reminding myself and the team is the competition is what's normal. The era of obscurity is what was not normal. And, you know, competition means big TAM, big outcomes, and big customers.
Finally, just will you be able to continue to scale, and how much can you scale? Your solutions are bespoke to your clients. You're on how many employees now?
For 500.
500, aiming for 800. How much can you continue to scale?
Yeah. Well, you know, we're trying to go all the way. So I hope we'll be able to scale for years to come. But, you know, we're having to solve scaling challenges that come faster and more furious than in other SaaS or software cycles because of the pace of change of the technology, the amount of intense focus on this. I mean, this is, you know, existential moments for traditional software providers. So it is not going to be easy, but we are the only pure play company in this space. We're the only company, only full stack AI company that's not actually trying to do something else, coding or personal productivity or compute or databases. And that means that we get to really take this AI native platform, an AI native team, an AI native methodology, and get to walk enterprises through a AI first future in a way that's very differentiated. So inshallah, we'll be able to do that for decades to come.
Inshallah, we wish you all the best.
Thank you, Sibyl.
And all the energy.
Thank you.
And all the creativity.
Thank you.